What's going on? Start that again. What's going on, guys, and welcome. Welcome to this episode today on confidence. And where does it come from? How do we get confidence? In this episode today, I'm going to show you how your belief systems and how you can bring this feeling of confidence into your life whenever you want to do it and how you can achieve that. For a long time, a lot of people have always stuck in their boxes, of I can only do this because I've tried this before and it worked out for me and I was okay at it and I built time over it. But for a lot of other things that we really want, which is really exciting to us, which can really bring so many opportunities to ourselves, we actually limit those chances because we don't believe we're good enough to do it. Or maybe, someone said something to us in the past which has affected us essentially on achieving these things. And this is then how it delves into negative confidence states. So we don't believe in ourselves and we're never feeling we can never actually achieve the things that which we truly want. So today I'm going to show you a few techniques on how you can build confidence by really just digging into the mind and how the mind can really tap into all states of mind. But this one in particular is confidence. And, once you can tap into this and reframe your mind, anything is possible for you. Anything is achievable for you. So this one today is the game changer. And it's really led me on my journey to success. It's really led my journey into a professional rugby career, or it's now transformed into my coaching business of coaching multiple men, multiple women, high achievers, overcome their roadblocks of limiting beliefs, doubts. How can they achieve what they really want? And build that internal confidence that, yes, I can do this. Yes, I do believe in myself. And yes, I'm going to start to take action. And this is not just work for one person. This is work for over 35 people this year already, impact their career, their personal life, and their wealth by really tapping into the mindset and growing self-belief and confidence. And, one thing they never tell us about why, whenever we start to do these journeys of growing ourselves, of why we can only stick to certain habits, positive habits, for a little bit, and then before you know it, we go back to old habits, and then we get frustrated with ourselves, and then we start to, look inwards and ask ourselves, why do we constantly screw up on ourselves? And a lot of the reason of that is because of the unconscious mind and how we can change the unconscious mind, because essentially the unconscious mind is 95% of the things that we don't actually notice, but that's 95% of our mindset, of what we think and what our beliefs and the stories we tell ourselves and the identity that we've held behind this. And there's only 5% of the conscious mind that we actually use. So really think about that, how only 5% of your mind you use and the 95% is the unconscious mind that you don't actually tap into. And I'm sure some of you may have seen the iceberg theory where, whatever is above the water is the 5% and the 95% is under the water. And that's the stories that we tell ourselves. But for you to change and reprogram the way you think, and in the scientific version, the neuron brain waves that go through the mind and how you reprogram them to really start to change those patterns and beliefs, it's starting to change the way we think and starting to change the unconscious mind. And, you see, confidence is deeply rooted in the unconscious mind. It's shaped by our past experiences, our beliefs, and even the little things we tell ourselves every day. This is where the magic is. This is where the magic is, what I'm going to show you today, and I'm going to show you a personal story on how I overcome my adversities, my struggles to get what I really wanted out of life. And, this technique that I'm going to show you today, it helps us change those deeply seated beliefs that hold us back. Think of the unconscious mind as a powerful engine driving your actions and your reactions. By understanding and reprogramming it, we can boost our confidence levels. So a little story on myself, from the age of 7 years old to the age I am right now, I've played rugby my whole life. My whole image, my love, my passion, my desire was always rugby. And I always wanted to make it. And thank God I got that opportunity to live that dream. But it didn't come without adversities. It didn't come without struggles. And one in particular, it happened 3 times, but one in particular, which I really struggled with was knee reconstructions. I had 3 knee reconstructions on my right knee. And for anyone who knows the body, that is one of the worst injuries you can have as a sports player. And it was extremely tough. The first one I was young and I bounced back pretty quickly. The second one I was in Australia and it really hit me for six. That one did. It didn't just shift my body and how to overcome that. It actually shifted my mindset because I was anchored so much on this identity of who I was. And I really struggled with it. And I went into a hole of depression, anxiety, worry. And I really couldn't see day to day. And the main concept of all of these states was I struggled with confidence. I struggled with confidence whether I could come back from the sport. I had doctors telling me that I could never achieve this. I should retire now and look at different avenues. And don't get me wrong, that came into my mind. But I always had this belief. I was 25 at that stage of I had more to offer. And I really wanted to, hit some of these challenges, these goals that I had, these ambitions that I had. But I remember the last time I did my ACL, I was playing in Australia. And it got to the stage where this knee was so weak that I literally ran back to the line and I turned around and I felt my knee go. And it was just an absolute mess after that. I actually ignored the pain and I played the following weekend. And I knew after that it was done. I just couldn't accept it, but I wanted to play because I knew in the end of this that I was done. So I remember I had the surgery. There was two pre-existing holes in my knee from my tibia and my fibia bones in the knee joint. Forgive me of my wording for the knee and the bones around it. That's not my forte. But basically, where they've drilled the old ligaments was essentially where they had to fill that with breaking my patella, refilling those holes, and creating a patella reconstruction. So a graft which was from the patella this time. Two previous ones were hamstring grafts. And that was a long journey, the third one. I had to go in after 6 months, after they cleaned the knee out in the first surgery, go in after 6 months after they filled those holes with breaking the patella, then they did the ACL. So overall, it was 18 months on my third knee reconstruction to return to any form of sport. And I accepted that my days were done. I accepted it. I didn't even rehab my knee properly. You know what? I actually just started putting no pressure on myself and I started to run. I started to straight line run. I started to cycle, and that's when I fell into doing triathlons a bit. Because if you are someone who's ambitious, you don't just turn over and stop. You have this burning desire to turn up. It's hardwired in your brain that you're an active person, you're an active mind. You don't want to become this slob. So I got into doing triathlons. And you know what? It was the best thing ever. It was no pressure on me to do or be or act or who I created, but it was just turn up, work hard, go home. And over that time, I had this little noise in the back of my head telling me, you know what? You could play again now. You could play again. And this one in particular time, my brother, who's still in Australia, rang me. He said, listen, the team needs some players. Let's play together. We've never played together. Let's do it. And I said, no, thanks. I'm good. I didn't want to go through that pain, that trauma again. And I actually, after the third attempt, I said, you know what? Bugger it. Let's do it. But I remember going back training, and it was as if I was a shell of the person I was. I just didn't feel confident. I didn't feel right running again, changing direction the way I would before, or stepping, or putting my body into certain positions. But I knew I had to find this confidence again. I knew I had to find that Ollie again that was created, that version of confidence from this area. And I knew it was hardwired in me. And I knew that I had many experiences of feeling confident on the field. But how can I tap into that feeling of previously feeling confident and bring it back now to having this big layoff of 3 years overall? 3-4 years, I believe. So what did I do? And this is where I'm going to tap into today and explain this technique to you. And this is essentially, reliving beliefs that we've had in the past and how we can bring them emotions back. So what I actually did, I started to, at this stage in my life, I was very much into meditation. I was very much into visualization. And I just started to practice only 2 minutes. I would ask myself, Ollie, find a moment in my life where I felt confident. Find a moment in my life where I felt motivated. Find a moment in my life where I felt excited. And when you ask your unconscious mind these type of questions, stories will come up. And I'm sure as I'm talking to you right now, there's a story coming up in your mind right now of a moment where you felt confident. It's extremely easy to find confidence of feeling sad because the mind always finds negative places. But for this time in particular, I want to ask you to find a moment where you felt extremely, extremely confident. And I want you to sit there as I did at that stage of about to go back on that field. How can I feel confident? And I closed my eyes for 2 minutes. And as soon as I had that memory in my mind of a time that I felt confident, I sat there, I closed my eyes, and I thought of that story. I relived that moment again. And while I was reliving that moment in my mind for 2 minutes, what came with that was this oozing feeling of confidence. I felt good. I can't explain the real words, but I started to go back to that place of reliving that moment. And I started to do this couple of weeks prior to training again, to that moment, to that stage of playing on the field. And before you know it, I could tap into that mindset for a while. And now I'm not saying that I was totally confident when I got on that field. Yes, there was moments of nerves, anxiety, and that's expected. Anyone who's ever played a sport or if you've ever done a test, no matter how confident you were to do that test or to do that sports course or to do that game, you're always going to have those forms of nerves and anxiety that come. Because for me, I needed that to be on the field. That was a moment of butterflies. I was ready. But what I did in those moments of 2 minutes actually brought the best version of myself out on that field. Those little fears, those little worries, they diminished. But I was actually fully present in what I was about to embark on. After having 3 knee reconstructions and multiple other surgeries, I got myself back onto the field and started to relive the moments that I did back then. And you know what? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. And I played well. I played good. And it actually led me into the opportunity of playing in the World Cup, something that I always wanted to do, but I always missed out on the opportunity because of injuries. And I remember the moment they asked me to play in the World Cup, asked me to be in the squad. They were like, you're in the extended squad. What do you want to do? Knee-jerk reaction, no thank you, I'm good. The team manager at the time, his name was Bob. I said, no thanks, Bob, I'm good. Well, look, we're going to let you think about it. Don't put no pressure on yourself. We'll touch base in the next week or two. Okay, no problem. Well, in that time right now, I had that itch. I was playing good again in Australia. I was enjoying it. And the buzz was back. The bug was there. But it was this new belief again. There was this new roadblock that I created about playing for Wales and playing against some of the best players in the world on the biggest arena in the world. And this guy who's come through so much, this was a new level. And as they say, new levels bring new devils. So I had to really tap into the unconscious mind more and more and start to break free from some of those limiting beliefs I created on myself from past experiences. So what I started to do now was actually visualize myself in moments on that field playing for Wales against Cook Islands. And I said, in this game, I'm going to visualize myself scoring a try. Now, I didn't see myself in particular moment scoring that try and how it was going to be reenacted, but I knew that I was going to be put in a position to score. And this was one of the most craziest versions of my life because I visualized this before the World Cup. Sitting there every day for 2 minutes, visualizing myself of doing it. So you know what? I reached out to Bob. I said, Bob, I think I'm ready. I'm ready. Put me on the plane. I'm coming home. And what happened after that? Yes, I played in the World Cup and I scored in that game. And I relived the moment that I really wanted to do from that young age of 7 years old was play for my country and play in a World Cup. And to top it off, score a try. That moment right now was another moment in my future, but I created it prior to that moment of achieving that purely from going into the mindset. Yes, I had to work hard. Yes, I had to practice. Yes, I had to turn up every day for myself. But the key component from all of this was my mind. Now, if you are a person who works 9 to 5 in an office, or if you have a business, or if you are a sports player, if you're an athlete and you train every day, 90% of the people are doing the same thing that you are every day. They're turning up, they're doing the work, they're lifting those weights, they're reaching out to clients if it's in office. But everyone in particular in the sports world I'm going to talk about right now is lifting those weights. They're doing the Bronco test, they're doing the fitness, they're doing all of these things. But one thing that leads you to become successful and let go of those minor internal dialogue voices that we tell ourselves in these moments is the mind. Now, if you can tap into the mind, you become into that 1% club. you become a successful player consistently, not just one-off, consistently. If you become a business owner, if you can tap into the mindset and become into that 1%er club, you are consistently successful, not just a one-time successful, because that could be luck sometimes. But if you can tap into the mind and start to visualize these things and start to focus on bringing these positive states back into your mind, like I just showed you with the 2 minutes, anything's possible. So that's one technique I highly recommend doing. And then every morning, visualization, visualizing yourself in these places, visualizing yourself in these moments. If it is reaching out to a person, if it is reaching out to a potential client, if it is cold calling people, or if it is that client or this investor that you need to transform your business, you need to visualize yourself doing these things, because you've got to prepare yourself for what's in the future for you. And if you can visualize that, see yourself overcoming these challenges of lacking confidence and bringing confidence to the table, then this primes your unconscious mind to make it happen. That's when we start to tap into under the water, the unconscious area, and breaking those limiting beliefs, them self-doubts, those worrying about what other people think. This is how we do it. Now, the questions I want to ask you on this journey right now is, how are you going to start to tap into your unconscious mind and start to bring confidence into your day? Because when you can identify that you can achieve this on a daily basis, the little things of worry, fear, uncertainty, they start to diminish. But if you continue on a daily basis and turn up for yourself and start to do these patterns and behaviors, anything's possible. It's off the subject a little bit. It's quite interesting, where I go to the gym every day. I rest on a Sunday. But what I actually notice with a lot of people is, yes, exercising is one of the most important things that you can do. As soon as you change your physical state, your mental state starts to lead with that. But I come across so many people who are gym junkies, who train all the time, who are so hard on themselves. And from the outside, we look at them, we say, wow, look at this person. So they look so confident. But then you get to know them, you realize they're just the same as other people that don't go to the gym, because they haven't tapped into the mindset. Physically, their bodies are impeccable, but if you can't tap into that mindset, you'll be forever stuck on that hamster wheel. You'll be forever stuck in this thing of never doing enough. And that's when you start to beat yourself up, and that's when that confidence starts to diminish. But if you can consistently turn up for yourself, ask yourself, what's a question you can ask yourself on top of this is, what's one thing I can do today to better my day? And then getting into the 2 minutes of visualization, then getting into the mindset of closing your eyes for 2 minutes and thinking about a time when you felt really, really confident. And then you can transfer that into other times. When was the last time you felt really excited? These are the things that I, tapped into. Recently, for me, when my dog came over to the UK. Now, if you're a dog lover like me, you know that feeling when you open the door after a busy day, you come home, you see your dog there, and he just gives you all the love in the world. And that love feeling creates that excitement. Well, I didn't see my dog for over a year while he was in Australia, when I was here, while I was in the UK. And that moment they opened the door, that whole drive from Wales to Heathrow to pick him up, I was so excited. And that moment they opened the door and they let Mowgli come out, that feeling was something that I can tap into pretty easily. And if I can transform that feeling of excitement on a daily basis, then what else do you think I can achieve? So guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you are in the area of the UK, if you are in the area of, in particular, South Wales, and you want to join some of our community events, if you want to join the Run Club on a Thursday, if you want to join the Sea Dips on a Friday, reach out to me. My Instagram is Ollie_Olds 1, and you can join our community events whenever you want. We have journals available now. We have them. We've just put a new order in of journals, so we've got plenty here right now. We've got more coming down the line, because there has been such a want for these journals. Now, these have been a game changer for me and many other clients of mine who have touched them and impacted their lives, because it prompts these emotions that I'm talking about right now, where sometimes most of the time you won't have to visualize yourself. The questions they're going to ask you prompt these emotions of positive states, which lead you into a better day. And if we can tap into that and then tap that into your goals, what you want to achieve in life, if that's in business, if that's in personal life, if that's in mastering your emotions, or if that's in relationships, the journal is one of the game changers to it. And you then can join the inner circle of like-minded people who wanting to uplift their life, master their emotions, and upgrade their life. So guys, thank you so much. And I hope this message helped.